What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be removing the DPF on this Jeep Grand Cherokee, installing some Flow Pro delete pipes. So stay tuned, let's get at her. So before you go ahead and just delete your vehicle, you should really know your laws, do some research. Most places you're not supposed to do this. You can get big fines. You won't be able to trade your truck in or a vehicle at the dealership. It's a big no-no. So this is for race use and off-road use only. So just keep that in mind going into this video. So the way I tune these Jeep or Dodge EcoDiesels is I actually take the ECM right out of the truck and I send it away to a company who tunes it for me. I know there's other ways. I think you can just OBD flash it now, but this is still how I do it. So I've already sent the ECM away and I've gotten it back, and so now we can put it into the vehicle and drive it in the shop and actually do the physical part of removing the DPF. Now, one thing I want to say, the way that my tuner does it, you have to first, before you pull the ECM out of the vehicle, you have to clear the codes. Even if there are no codes, you must clear the codes on the vehicle. As soon as you're done clearing codes, shut the key off and then go disconnect the negative battery cable. And once the negative battery cable is off, you can remove the ECM and ship it off to whoever's doing the tune. So I'm just going to put this ECM back in. It's super easy to take out and put in on these Jeep Grand Cherokees. There's just 3 bolts, 1, 2, and 3. And this is the top bolts there. So this just slides down in there. And then you have your 2 connectors that are down there, plug them in, and away you go. With the ECM installed, we can go hook the negative back up to the battery. So the batteries on these is actually underneath the passenger front seat. You get at it by moving the seat all the way forward, and then you can pop this out right here. And as you can see, I have my negative post there just kind of held out of the way with some rags. So I'm just going to put that guy on. All right, she's hooked up. So I've never actually done a DPF delete on a Jeep Grand Cherokee. I have done them on the Ram EcoDiesels, but not a Jeep. So this is kind of a learning process for both of us. Here are the pipes we're putting on. Flow Pro part number 876 for 2014 to 17 Jeep EcoDiesel. Let's open it up and just kind of see what we're working with. All right, this is what it looks like. There's 3 pieces, and then it just connects to your factory exhaust. It kind of has a Y pipe in there, and that's where it connects to, and then goes out to each tailpipe. Okay guys, I really apologize because it's going to be hard for me to show you this. I really need a lift. I don't have a lift. I do everything from the ground, but I'm going to do my best to kind of show you what we have to do. All right, so here is, I don't know if this is a cat or part of your DPF, but that's got to come off. It's going to be a V-band clamp way up top. There's this 3-bolt flange we'll have to disconnect. There's your def injector and a plug. Make your way down here. There's 2 more plugs that we're gonna have to disconnect. I do not know where to get at them because it looks like they go like behind a heat shield. So I'm probably gonna end up just cutting the wires. And then once I have the exhaust out, I will actually figure out where they're plugged in and unplug them. And then down here, this is where the Y pipe I was talking about. So we're gonna have to, I would spray some Freol or WD-40 on that bolt just so it's not so rusted when we take it off. And yeah, we're gonna have to beat this guy out of here. So looking from the top down, if you see down there, that's the V-band clamp we have to disconnect. So that's also gonna be fun. You can kind of tell by the shape of this pipe how it goes like that. That's where the V-band clamp is that we're gonna have to disconnect. There's also gonna be some sensors on this pipe too. You're gonna wanna unplug them or just cut the wires and unplug them after when the exhaust is out and you have more room. So I think what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna disconnect those bolts, unplug those two connectors there, and then down at this end, before that flange, I'm just gonna cut it with a Sawzall, and I'm gonna drop this middle piece out of the vehicle, and then I'll use a hammer. I'll hammer that little chunk in the back out, and then once this is out, I will work at the piece that goes kind of up into your engine there. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this out. Once I have it out, I'll have a better idea as to what I had to do, and I will go through that once it's on the ground. This nut is like super tight, so I'm just using a little tiny torch to try to heat it up a bit, so hopefully it breaks free.
Oh, there's no room under here. I need a lift so bad.
You can use kind of like a chisel here and whack it with a hammer just to kind of break it free so it actually comes up a bit. But looks like, there we go, she's out. Okay, we got the back pipe out here. So just to show you, there's your DEF injector line there. I actually just used some of these pliers and just rip the white tab off, and then you can pop it off. Then there's a safety tab on this sensor, unplug it. This guy here, I just cut it for now. And then back at these ones, I also just cut these ones for now. I don't like cutting it. I feel like it's not a professional job, but whatever, it's all I could do right now. I'm probably just gonna end up putting heat shrink on the wires left in the vehicle, put some heat shrink on each one of them, and then tape them all up and just leave them like that, because I can't get to the actual connectors. But now I'm gonna fish my hand down in there and just see how I'm gonna go about undoing that V-band clamp down there to get the first pipe down. And once I have it down, I'm gonna end up just cutting those sensors too, unless I can get at them. I'll try to get at them if I can, but if not, I'll cut them. So we'll go to the next one. Okay, so I was actually able to reach my hand down in there. I used a flex head ratchet wrench. It's a 10 mil, and that's how I undid the V-band clamp nut. So I have the nut pretty much all the way off. The V-band clamp is still like tight around the exhaust, so we're gonna have to try to wiggle it, try to break it free. But whatever, it's loose for now. So then I went underneath, and I noticed there was more brackets. So what I did is I took this, goes underneath the transmission. It's just, there's 5 13mm bolts. Take this out, put it to the side, and it kind of gives you a little bit more room. So here's what we're trying to take out. So right up here, there's actually a nut on the top of this stud, or you can take this whole bracket off, but it's got to come off, sorry. And then see right there, there's another, I can't really point, but there's a nut right there on that black bracket, and that bracket goes up and to the left there, and there's another bolt. So those look like your tranny bell housing bolts. There's 2 nuts, I guess, you have to take off also. So there's 2 nuts there, and then there's this bracket you're gonna have to do something about. Sorry about the video quality, guys. This is just, there's no room here. All right, let's talk about this guy, because this was child's play compared to getting this guy out. So again, I stuck my hand down the engine, spun this nut right off the V-band clamp so you can expand it. There's one sensor I cut here and one up there I cut, and then I used a razor blade or X-Acto knife to cut these 2 rubber hoses. Way easier than getting them off. All right, so here I actually put a right angle die grinder with like a little cutting disc on and cut this bracket right off, because I could not get at the like there's a nut on top, but then you're still hooked around it, and then there's 2 nuts up on the tranny if you want to, or on the frame. It was a total gong show. So I actually cut it, couldn't quite cut all the way through because I ran out of room, so I used a file and actually filed my way through there. But yeah, this one is out. These were also very difficult. This one was easy to get out, but that top one, that one was also a nightmare. I just used a 1/4-inch ratchet, and I would give it a little bit, and then I'd have to take it off. I'd have to actually go like this, 1, 2 little clicks, and then I'd put it back in there and do another one. Just, it was terrible. And I'm dirty and I just feel gross, but it's all out. So I'm gonna go under there and I'm going to clean up the connectors I have under the vehicle. And once that's all done, we will put the new exhaust in, which should not take very long. The hardest part is just gonna be doing up that V-band clamp, but compared to what we just went through, it shouldn't be hard at all. Okay, so there's the Y pipe we're gonna put the new pipe into. There are 2 of my wires there. Keep going up here. You'll see some connectors there. I just actually cut the wires short, and that way inside the connector, hopefully it won't corrode. There's those 2 rubber lines. And then here are the other 2 plugs. So there is where we're gonna put the pipe with the V-band clamp. So I'm gonna get that pipe on there. And then since this has been such a terrible job, we're gonna have some fun. We're just gonna, once that pipe's on, we're gonna fire it up and rev her up and just see what it sounds like completely straight piped. Okay, got this first pipe in. It was actually way easier than I thought it was gonna be because we have all this room, so you can just reach right up there. You can use a ratchet wrench. And yeah, I put the nut of the V-band clamp facing towards the back of the vehicle. It was super easy to get on. So, let's fire it up. I have always wanted to see what one of these things sounds straight piped. I don't know, thoughts? It didn't really sound that sweet, but also a full piping exhaust will definitely make it sound a lot kind of more tuned or toned, in my opinion. That's just, you know, 3 feet of pipe right off the engine there. So I'd definitely like to see one that's actually straight piped all the way back, but unfortunately today we're not doing that on this vehicle. So anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and get these other 2 pipes in. Pretty straightforward. Okay, so I got a problem here. As you can see, this exhaust is way too long, and you can also see where it's supposed to go in the hanger. We're like 6 inches or so too short, so I'm going to measure and I'm gonna cut this piece shorter. Why on earth this doesn't just fit? Like, you can't get a different size of Grand Cherokee. Like, they're all the same. So I don't know why this kit doesn't just fit exactly how it should. It's kind of upsetting, and it also doesn't have anything in the instructions, doesn't talk about having to cut it or anything like that. So I think this is stupid, FlowPro. I don't know why this won't fit. But anyways, I'm going to measure, slide this pipe off, because you want this bevel, so you do not want to cut this one. So slide that guy off. Just like that, make a mark here, whatever, just cut it. It's better to go longer than too short, because you can always cut it a little bit shorter if you want. So yeah, make a mark and we'll put her on. So looking at it now, I have my tailpipe in. This hanger almost will line up with that rubber. So what I did is I just held them together. I made a mark there. I could have gone a little bit more this way, and I probably will. I'll cut it on this side of my mark. But that's where I'm gonna cut it, and then it should all fit together nice. It just gets better and better. This will not tighten all the way. See how this is still loose, like this pipe is still spinning in the old pipe. So I'm going to disconnect my negative battery cable once again. I'm going to hook up the welder and I'm going to tack this on there because I can't tighten that clamp anymore. I'm just, oh my God. All right, put some tacks on that guy. That's in the hanger. That's nice and tight. That guy's nice and tight. And then the last one up there, the V-band clamp's nice and tight. So all that's left is I gotta zip tie these guys out of the way, and then we gotta put that kind of transmission cover back on as well. So make sure you go underneath, check for exhaust leaks. I actually had some exhaust leaks on that back piece where I welded, so I went under there and I actually welded the majority of it till it stopped leaking. But yeah, that is pretty much it. Two things you should take away from this. One, this job sucks. Two, it'd be easier if you had a hoist, but it would still suck. But anyways, guys, if you found the video useful, please like and subscribe. If you got questions, ask in the comments. Or better yet, shoot me a message on Instagram, then we can have a better conversation there. Yeah, that is it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next video.